Gamerlife podcast. This is the video podcast. Episode 1. Hello and welcome. My name is Nick, or my gamer tag on Xbox Live is #01. Today on this podcast, first of all, I'd like to welcome everyone that's watching my podcast. This is the first time I've done a video podcast, and I think that other websites that are gaming should follow and do a video podcast, such as MajorNelson.com. I've told Xbox Live Major Nelson in comments that I think that he should do a video podcast. I'm deciding to do a video podcast because I'm going to do kind of a different type of a podcast than normal video game podcasts. I want to focus mainly on kind of like stories that I've heard and different issues and topics that come up when I'm playing video games. And also, I'm hopefully will get letters and emails that I will discuss on here. You know, feel free to write anything. I'm not going to censor anything that anyone writes to me, and I'm going to talk about it in my podcast. So whatever you want to say, hey, you comment about anything, I'm going to read it and I'm going to talk about it. Okay, so let's get into the first order of discussion. Okay, first of all, I'd like to explain that I have a jacket on right now because it's really cold where I'm doing my podcast right now. It's not because I'm trying to look a little bit bigger than I might be, so one thing that I think is kind of cool is the whole camera thing that they've added to the Xbox 360 for some games like Uno. There's a totem ball game that came with it. I think you can put your face in Rainbow Six Vegas. Some people thought that was kind of cool that you can do that. But there are some concerns. When I was playing Uno, I got an update, and it was basically warning me of offensive things that some people might see while using the webcam. Before the Vision Cam even came out, I was fully aware that these things would happen. But you know what? I have to say right now, I think the majority of the people are above the age of 18 that are playing on the 360 and actually appreciate some of the content of video that people might be doing on the webcam that might normally never happen when playing the game of Uno. There are a lot of people that I've run into that will say, hey, I don't really per se like the game of Uno, but just the fact that there are crazy people on webcam that are doing whatever they do on cam makes it interesting and makes me want to play Uno. And I think I read that it was a top game on the Xbox arcade game list, and I think that is due to that fact. I don't think many of the people that actually own the game Uno like it because it's Uno. I mean, honestly, there's a rank. Okay, get this right. There's a rank in unranked mode. That's crazy. Because, you know what? I have so many losses, but yet I'm like 3,000 in the rank. Why do I have so many losses? Because I quit so many games. And it's just fun to quit and join games and see who's actually in the games. People make fun of me. I join that game. Boom. It shows your rank like right there in the square. And then it's like, oh, you have like 3,000 losses and like 200 wins. Some outrageous number like that, I know. And that's just part of that's part of Uno. You got to deal with it. You got to put a happy face on. Some people, they come in there, ignore your wins, and then they'll just ask you questions. Like for me, I don't have like a couch per se to play Uno on, so I kind of lay against my wall. And people always ask, hey, why are you laying against your wall like that? It doesn't look comfortable. And then you know what? I want to quit the game. I want to leave. And you know what? Before the webcam came out, you didn't have to address these concerns like, what am I sitting on? Is it comfortable? Do people, when they're looking at me, do I look presentable? Do I have a shirt on? I've joined many games where people will not have a shirt on, and sometimes it's in a position in which I want to kick them, that their position, their body, and other times it's like, they have a shirt on, I'm just not going to look, or whatever. It doesn't bother me, and I want to say right now that I think they need to come out with more games that are vision camera enabled. I'm not easily offended. I mean, if you send me a message of something I don't want to see, I'm not going to report you. I'm going to tell you that right now. Gamertag's number 0space01. I'm just going to delete it. So, if I see it for half a second, there's so many grosser things on the web I mean, come on, everybody, come on, admit it. There's websites that somebody sends you via the email, and you're like, oh, you know, that's my buddy trying to tell me about checking out a website. Their computer got infected somehow, and then it's like, boom, that was gross. You know, why'd he send me that? And then, you know, it's just, that's how it is. That's how it is. It's like it's part of life, you know. And if you're already connected to the internet on your computer, I don't really see why it's the webcam thing on Uno is really that bad. I mean, you just got to remember that if you probably look like a freak, that people are probably going to see you as one when you're playing Uno on the cam. Now, I'm not trying to say anything about like what exactly that looks like. It could be anything, right? You know, you could look a little too normal, and people could think that was weird. And that's basically my experience on Uno. My experience on Uno is that Uno, from the add-on of the camera, has not become the same Uno game as it was before. And I'm recommending for everyone that just got an Xbox 360 and looking for something that makes your weekends a little bit more exciting, to check out the 360 Vision webcam, because it's a lot of fun. And the game of Uno is included for free, I believe, by a little code. And let me tell you, it's a great game. Best game on Xbox Live Arcade. Mark my words on that. Okay, let's see. The Nintendo Wii. Man, was that sucker hard to get, right? Okay, no. Here's my Nintendo Wii story, because obviously somebody on the internet is going to sympathize with this Nintendo Wii story. Okay, so I found out that my local Toys R Us was going to be having a midnight launch of the Wii on the day it came out. So what I did was I waited. I got there about 4 o'clock the day before, and I probably waited, or maybe it was a little bit early, maybe around noon, but I thought I waited about 8 to 12 hours for the release of the Nintendo Wii. I was glad. It was sold out everywhere else after that, and I met some really interesting people. One of the people I met when I was waiting in line for the Nintendo Wii was a guy that worked at Sony. Now, of course, one might wonder why a person that was working for Sony was waiting in line for a Nintendo Wii system. I believe he said to me that they were going to put it in their break room. And I asked him what he thought about the PlayStation 3, and he said that they were working on games in which in the future might make me more persuaded to buy a PS3 more or less. So I'm excited to say that I'm looking forward to future games on the PS3. I mean, there's basically two reasons why someone right now would not want to get a PS3. The first reason is that it's expensive, $500 or $600. And then the second reason is there isn't any compelling reason of a difference between the cheaper system games versus the games on the PS3. So if I'm looking at the PS3, I'm going to say, hey, it looks the same as the 360, but this is the first generation. You're comparing it to the second generation of the Xbox 360, keep in mind. And I really think that the PS3 is going to do very well in the upcoming months, and eventually will might be more popular than the 360. I mean, it has shortages, right? And it's still selling pretty good, like hotcakes, right? It's got the HDMI built in, great deal. You guys heard about the second edition of the 360. I've heard bits and pieces, things like IPTV included, HDMI on the rear end of the system, 120 gigabyte hard drive included. As to how many of those are true, is 120 gigabyte hard drive sold separately or is it included within the system? I really don't know yet, and I've heard, just bits and pieces. I was an early adopter, okay? I got my 360 on the day it came out.